I have 150 Luna available to stake with Stader, and that's what we're doing today. We're going to be staking it live, and I'm going to try to answer some of the questions that you might be having if you're interested in staking with Stader as well. Welcome to Crypto Saver. So for those of you that do not know much about Stader, they're looking to improve on the current staking mechanisms that we know of. And two main things that they're looking to improve on is the fact that they will auto compound your staking rewards every single day and put it back into your staked amount, which should help you receive a higher yield altogether. The second thing is that, as you might know, when you stake, let's say Luna, you receive airdrops. Now, the biggest issue of these airdrops is that unless you have a lot of Luna staked up, the fees for redeeming each airdrop most of the time will actually be more than the airdrop's value altogether. Well, Stader is basically giving you an option where you can accumulate all your airdrops, and with one click for 50 cents, you can actually redeem all your airdrops without having to pay a fee for every single airdrop. And the third thing that they're working on, which we should see in a couple days now, is a thing called liquid staking. And as you might also know, when you stake Luna, you have to wait 21 days to unstake it. And that's an issue, especially if you want to sell it, you want to convert it to another coin, and so on. Well, with liquid staking, they'll give you the opportunity where when you stake Luna with them, they'll give you another token in return. And from what I can tell so far, you'll be able to simply convert that token to, let's say, Luna on a secondary market or something like that. Now, granted, likely will be at a discount, but that will give you the opportunity to get out of your Luna position whenever you want to without having to wait for that 21-day unbonding period before you actually have control over your Luna. Now, as a quick thing, remember, if you want to stake to Stader, you can't just redelegate to them. You have to actually unstake right now from Terra Station or from however you're staking it. You gotta wait those 21 days, and only then can you stake to Stader. With that being said, let's get going. So we can see right now that I have 150 Luna available for delegation. I had to wait 21 days for this. When I made my first video, which I'll put it up here, that was on the day that I actually first unstaked 150 Luna. 21 days has finally passed. Last night it came through, and now I can actually stake the 150 Luna. So here's a homepage for Stader. We're going to click on Launch App. We're going to wait for it to load. A little downside I've seen so far with Stader, it does take some time for things to load in. Sometimes your wallet actually would not be showing properly. You have to refresh the page. But let's head over to the portfolio. Wait for this to load once again. Okay, so on this page, we can actually see that I've earned some SD tokens. Now, what are SD tokens? Because we didn't cover this in the intro. Well, for the first 2 months of Stader, instead of actually receiving, when you stake your Luna, instead of receiving your Luna rewards and your stables and having it restaked back into that pile, you're actually having those rewards converted over to SD tokens, which is going to be the native governance token for Stader. If you want to speculate on the fact that SD tokens will be worth that much more in the future, and you want to take part in this community event, well, you have to stake with them right now because this event is going to last for the next 2 months. It began on November 20th. It either goes for 2 months or it goes until all the tokens that are available, as you can see here, 3 million SD tokens. So I guess if 3 million SD tokens are farmed first, then the farming event is going to end. Now, I do have a couple SD tokens earned so far, and the only reason I do have some, even though I was waiting in a huge pile to actually undelegate, is because I did stake, I believe, like 6 or 7 Luna on November 20th, just to kind of get something in there. And we can also see here on their SD token price, it's at around 56 cents per SD token. Now, this does go up with more Luna. If there's more Luna staked on their platform, they will increase the price. When it first launched, I think it was around like a 39 cents, if I'm not mistaken. So you could have been farming them at an SD token that's worth 39 cents. Now it's at 56 cents, and it's going to go up by 30% the next time they hit a specific threshold for how much Luna is already being staked on their platform. So there's an argument to be made that within a few weeks from now, the price of an SD token can actually be at over $1. So if you're trying to farm these SD tokens, you're actually naturally going to start earning less and less of them as time goes by and as more people keep staking with Stader. So again, if you want to get involved, you kind of want to do it ASAP before this SD token really goes up in price. And to further kind of push on these SD tokens here, how do you get them, right? So during this farming event, it's going to end, let's say, after 2 months. If you decide to unstake your Luna after 2 months from their platform, you actually give up your right to 50% of all the SD tokens that you earned during this farming event. So just imagine that all I have right now is 1.5 SD tokens, right? Let's say 2 months have gone by, all I have is 1.5 SD tokens. Well, if I unstake my Luna right away after the farming event is over, I basically give away my right to point, let's say 75, which is rounded down a bit. 0.75 SD, I've basically given it away, which by the way, that amount will actually be taken in and distributed to everyone else that was part of the community farming event that actually still has their Luna staked. And then that remaining 0.75 SD that exists, that is actually going to be distributed back to me over the course of 6 months at an equal proportion. So in total, it's going to take a minimum of 6 months really to get all USD tokens back, whether you unstake your Luna right away after 2 months or whether you keep your Luna staked throughout this whole process. Now, again, if you unstake right away, 2 months, you give up your right to half of them. If you do not unstake during this 8-month period, you get the right to every single SD token that you farmed. Now, let's take a look at my holdings here. Again, we have about 7.17 Luna deposited with Stader. I have my expected APR here at 13.17%. And I have my airdrops here, right? You can kind of see I have an ANC airdrop already, I have a mirror airdrop, and I have one from Pylon already. This is where you would typically find them located. If we head over to strategies, this page is currently not active simply because of the community farming event, but after 2 months, this page would be active. And you can kind of see the two options at the moment. It would be auto compounding your rewards. We kind of spoke about that. You deposit your Luna, you selected this strategy. Your rewards from Luna on a daily basis will be compounded back to your Luna stake, which will help boost your overall APR on staking your Luna. Because right now, if you were to do it manually, you can very well do so. They just kind of handle the job for you, and they do it with considerably less fees, which we'll cover a bit later into this video. Now, finally, let's look at the actual pools that are available to us, and let's get started with staking some of our Luna that we have available. There's three options, right? We're looking at blue chip, we're looking at community, we're looking at Airdrops Plus. So blue chips, I guess, they're kind of taking a name there from the stock market. We're looking at validators that have an uptime that's above 99.9% of the time. They've been around for at least 6 months. These should be typically your heavy hitters. And it's typically seen that if you're staking to these guys, you really want to ensure that you're not going to be getting slashed any of your Luna, and that these validators have a good foundation basically to staking. Then we have the community pool here, which is where I initially staked my 7 Luna. These would be validators that are actually contributing something to the platform, whether it be content and things like that. Kind of see Terabytes here. Yeah, YouTube channel. I like those guys a lot. So that's why I put my 7 Luna in. And then finally, we have Airdrops Plus. Now, in this case, these are validators where they actually release their own tokens. So like we can see here, Orion. If you stake with Orion, Orion actually gives you your own tokens, gives you Orion tokens. You're staking with them. So if you kind of want to boost up your APYs, you can actually go for this option, which is Airdrops Plus. In general, as we look down the list of APRs, so you can kind of see they all kind of tend to fall within the same levels here. Airdrops Plus are just that much better than blue chip. And then obviously towards the bottom, we kind of have a community at 13.17%. Again, not too big of a difference between the three of them, but if you're really trying to optimize your returns, and sure, going after Airdrops Plus is a decent option. So we're going to be doing something right now, and let's go to blue chip, and I'm not going to deposit all of my Luna in one shot, because I just want to show you guys something that Stader didn't really tell people in how they're actually calculating things and how they're actually distributing your Luna across these validators. Because the assumption is if you select blue chip and you put your Luna here, you would believe that your Luna would be distributed across all these different validators. We can do a quick kind of count here and see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like 5 validators, right? So you would think that if you deposit 50 Luna, your Luna would be distributed equally across these 5 validators. It makes sense. And Stader kind of put it as one of the bullet points for why the platform is so great, because they kind of incentivize distributing your Luna across many different validators and promoting decentralization. But does that really happen? Let's take a look. We're going to deposit 25 Luna here. There's a transaction fee, 50 cents. And again, this is actually going to be the only transaction fee you are going to be paying. So keep that in mind. We're going to hit deposit on the blue chip. Just enter my password quickly. Okay, deposit is successful. Perfect. And we're going to close this up. And we're going to do it once more. Deposit another 25. Post it. Okay, that was also successfully deposited. Perfect. Now let's head over to our Terra station here. Go into our history. Okay. Let's see. So I see one transaction here. I'm kind of waiting for the other one to appear here. Okay, perfect. So we have both transactions here, right? So let's see actually what happened with the delegation here. Let's click on delegate 25 Luna here. Okay, so when we click on, so again, in our wallet, when we click on where our Luna was delegated, we can see that our Luna, our first batch was delegated to Luna Station 88. Now, if we look here, we can see that is one of the validators. But what about the rest of these validators? I mean, our Luna did not touch any of those other validators. It went directly to them. As a matter of fact, even our second transaction here, because we just put in two transactions, if we go to our second one here as well, it also went to Luna Station 88. Okay. Now, what if we go to the 7 Luna that I deposited a couple days ago? Oh, just my phone there for a second. So if we click here, again, this wasn't a different pool though. This went to terabytes only, right? We can see this. It only went to terabyte. Now, someone asked this question within their Discord, like, what's going on here? Why is the Luna just being delegated to one validator within the pool? So let's take a look at those screenshots. So this screenshot is from Discord from one of the moderators, Pops. And pay attention to this last section. I have blurred out everything that's kind of irrelevant to this current discussion. From a technical perspective, we send transactions in a round-robin way to be efficient with transaction fees. Now, what do they mean by that? Well, they're basically saying that if they were to take my 25 Luna that I just deposited and delegate it across 5 of those validators, as we kind of expected them to do so, they would ramp up too many transaction fees. It makes sense. Obviously, you get charged per transaction. But that's not that great, because just think about this for a second. Well, first of all, we actually didn't really see a round robin type of approach here when I did 25 and 25. I actually would have expected that, my next 25 would have actually gone to a different validator, because that's kind of what round robin kind of means, right? If you have 5 validators, let's say a person just right now stakes, it goes to the first validator. There's another person from somewhere just stakes, it goes to a second validator, and they kind of go just in order like this, right? Back and forth. We didn't even see that happen. I staked twice in 2 different transactions, and both of them went to Apollo 88. Now, again, that kind of goes against the whole round robin thing. And maybe what they're doing is that they're kind of seeing, let's say they're trying to keep the balance of Luna between each validator to be equal. So if they see that Apollo 88 is kind of on the low end compared to the other validators, is how much Luna has been delegated to them, then maybe the next X amount of Luna that's being delegated is getting pushed into Apollo, for example. They might be doing that, but this is the type of thing that Stader needs to kind of tell us about and have documentation about. We shouldn't really be figuring this out on our own and kind of seeing an issue here where you might be selecting a pool here and you're under the belief that your Luna is actually being delegated across 5, 6 different validators and being decentralized. Well, in truth, your specific Luna is really only going to one spot within that pool. There's a few issues with this until we get more clarification from them. So I'm going to unblur the part of the screenshot that I had blurred before from this moderator. The first section here says you will get Orient airdrops based on your schedule and snapshots. Your staked Luna will have characteristics as if you're staked across validators. Now, the reason they answered this, what prompted this, was someone asking, hey, I'm staking within the Airdrop Plus pool. I'm worried that I am not going to receive the validator airdrop from Orient. But when we think about that, if you're staking and into this validator pool and you're under the belief that an equal portion will go into Orient and that you will receive an X percentage of airdrops from Orient, let's say in the airdrop, I mean, we could kind of take a quick look here and see that over here, let's go over to, yeah, so let's say airdrops plus. How many are there? There's 3 of them, right? Let's say you basically deposit 100 Luna in the airdrop plus pool, and you would think, right? You would think 33 of your Luna will go into Orient money, so a third of your Luna would receive an Orient airdrop or Genesis drop and so on. But what if it's not equally allocated, all that Luna? What if all the Luna that went into this pile here, what if there's an imbalance? What if Orient money does not have 33% of all the Luna in the airdrop plus pool? What if it only has 20% of the Luna that exists here? And 20% of that Luna is going to receive an airdrop from Orient. And sure, you'll get a piece of it because you're part of that pool, but less than you would have had you have done it manually, because manually, had you put it into these 3 validators, you would have gotten 33%, right? But because you put into airdrops plus, and because they're not taking every batch of Luna deposits that they're getting and distributing it equally, they're doing some sort of round robin feature, there could be a discrepancy in how much Luna is being found in each pile. Again, Stader needs to come forward and clarify what they're doing. Is this simply a matter of, if you now go on and you deposit onto airdrops plus, you get a different validator, and so with the next person, or do they try to actually allocate it in an evenly manner? There isn't enough information to tell us about that. What this further pushes is actually the risks you typically get with staking with validators. Now, keep in mind, staking with validators is never a risk-free type of scenario. If the validator messes up, you can lose some of your Luna, and that is referred to as slashing. Now, how they mess up determines the severity of how much Luna you actually can lose, but there's a possibility for you to even lose as much as 5% of your Luna with a validator if they commit the most heinous crime, basically, within the space, which would be referred to as like double signing, right? In that case, if a validator double signs and you stake to that validator, 5% of your Luna is just gone, right? Now, smaller issues that they might have downtime for a little bit of time. Okay, you lose 1% of 1% of your Luna. All right. Maybe then they don't partake in voting as often as they should. Okay, you lose 1% of 1%. Still losses you shouldn't take and you do not want to take. And in general, obviously, when you take your Luna and you're trying to spread it across validators, you reduce your chances of a slash being that detrimental to your overall portfolio. But if I just put 50 Luna into this blue chip pool, and all that 50 Luna went into Luna Station 88, what if Luna Station 88 allows for double signing and 5% of my Luna is slashed? Like, how does that work on this platform here, right? Because you would think I'm actually most exposed to it now, as opposed to if my 50 Luna was spread across these 5 validators and only 10 of my Luna would be exposed to that slashing risk. But in actuality, 50 of my Luna is exposed to that slashing risk within Luna Station 88. Again, Stader needs to explain this. Maybe they simply, if there is a slashing fee, maybe they simply take it and just distribute that fee across all validators within that pool. That seems kind of like a fair way to kind of go about it. But their FAQ, neither does their FAQ or any documentation kind of says how they handle this type of problem. Now, whether you've been staking already or whether you plan on staking, if you head over to your wallet, you might be surprised at first. You might see something like this. You might see that every single day you have a transaction that says execute, allocate user rewards in your address, right? And it's 23 cents, 26 cents, 28 cents on a daily basis. And you might be saying to yourself, holy, this is actually eating away all my rewards. Every single day I'm being charged 28 cents, 26 cents, 23 cents. This might look alarming to you. It looked alarming to me because that almost meant that you had to have a minimum amount of Luna staked if you actually want to somehow not lose all your rewards to these fees. Well, the good news is don't be alarmed. Stader actually eats these fees. If you pay attention to your UST balance does not go down, even though these transactions are being logged within your wallet. So don't worry. The only fee that you will be seeing right now during this community farming event is that 50-cent fee that you will have when you first stake into a pool. Now, every time you stake into a pool, though, you have 50 cents, right? So I staked twice just now, 25 and 25 into the blue chip. I paid $1 overall for that, for doing it twice, obviously. But these fees, they don't come into play, so do not worry about them. So we still have 100 Luna left to stake. Let's get going. Let's do it. And the way I plan on doing it, I plan on putting 50 Luna into the community, 50 more Luna into the community pool, and 50 more Luna into the Airdrop Plus pool. Again, I'm just trying to kind of distribute my Luna across as many validators as possible. As far as I can see right now, I mean, I get it, like in the background, I may allocate things, and basically how the whole system works is a smart contract that everyone kind of stakes into it, and all the rewards are pushed to the smart contract, distributed into you. So you should still be kind of decentralized in that sort of way, but we're still going to take the extra step by kind of putting it into all three different ones ourselves, to kind of further try to to spread our Luna out. And let's put 50 here. I'm going to click on deposit, and let's post that. And then for Orion, we will put 50 there, and let's hit deposit. Okay, cool. And I'm not sure if you've been using this tool yet. There's a tool called Apeboard.finance/dashboard. It's a good way to kind of get an aggregate of all your different finances across the DeFi space. This is what I have for Terra right now. I kind of get a glimpse of where my money is. So what's in my wallet, for example, what I'm staking directly on Luna Terra Station, right? So I still have about 226 staked directly with terabytes, and then 81 of Orion money. So we have 50 Luna here, 57 Luna there. So obviously it's taking a little bit of time for the rest of the balances to update, but you can kind of still see it here, which is kind of cool. And more importantly, is airdrops, right? See, I do have these two airdrops from Orion because I staked directly with Orion, primarily through Terra Station. And my first airdrop here, about it's worth about $4.50. The second one is worth about nearly $5. Obviously, that number can go up and down based on what the Orion token is doing in price value. But you see, the issue is, again, for airdrops. Now, these Orion airdrops perfectly fine at $5 a piece. I mean, the transaction fees relatively a smaller number out of it. They may take 5% of the fee. But look at these other tokens here. Like, look at Pylon, right? 86 cents for this recent airdrop. Or Mirror, 83 cents, let's say. There should be an A and C here. It's also not showing. Yeah, Apeboard sometimes glitches out, so keep that in mind. But and I have about $20,000 worth of Luna being staked to get these type of rewards. So if we go directly, let's say, into Anchor, and we want to withdraw this airdrop here, the most recent one available, we can see the transaction fee. Actually, it went down in value. I'll give them that much. It went down in price. I mean, it's only 5 cents. But let's head over to Mirror very quickly and see what is going to be there. Because before, the transaction fees actually used to be something along the lines of like 15 to 20 cents. 5 cents isn't too bad. That might have been a recent change that actually brought it down to the Columbus 5 update. Let's see if on Mirror we can get them to prompt our airdrops here. Either way, that's fine. So again, typically I would see what we can say 5 to 15 cents per airdrop is typically what it would take to withdraw an airdrop. And if you're staking very little, it can eat away at all your rewards. But again, the last thing to cover here instead, that would be the fact that if you head over to your portfolio and then you head over, well, wait for this to load. Okay, I think go to manage. Okay, manage holdings. We can see our airdrops here. We can see our airdrops that are available to withdraw. If we hit on withdraw right now, there's a 50 cent UST fee that you pay once. It doesn't matter how many airdrops accumulate within here. You can wait months, let's say, and in one shot you can withdraw and just pay 50 cents once. And that is great. That is definitely an added benefit that Stader brings, because so many people are simply not able to claim their airdrops because they're not staking enough for the airdrops to make sense to withdraw one at a time. I mean, we could just look at what my early airdrops kind of looked at as I was building up my Luna position. I mean, like 2 cents, 4 cents, like those airdrops are never worth withdrawing ever, basically, unless Mirror really goes up crazy in price, simply because the fee just eats right at it. But that's kind of an overview on Stader. I'm liking it so far. I just think the team needs to do a better job of communicating, because there are some things that are not well said by them or explained by them. Like even that transaction fee that appears within the wallet, I had to get clarification on that within the Discord, because people were kind of asking like, why is this transaction fee appearing? People thought that that's actually being paid by us, by the users. A moderator had to come in and kind of clear that up, and that's not a good thing. Like that should be very clear to people. Hey, do not worry about that fee. And they really have to clear up how the whole delegation is working on a round robin system, as they said. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you like this type of content, you like things within the Terra network, feel free to subscribe. Like this video if you found it helpful. I think I'm just about to hit 200 subscribers. I'm really happy for that. So thank you, all of you that kind of come back and listen to me, and whether you like it, whether you communicate me in the comments, I really appreciate it. Other than that, I hope you guys had a great weekend, a great Thanksgiving, and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for watching.